Hey, this is Satchel from SteelPanther, and you are watching Jim Rock Crew.
Well, Jim Rock Crew is basically a movement to help rock stars, and metal artists live longer, healthier lives. So you were freaking jacked. You are in excellent shape, and I just had to get you on here.
It's all the steroids.
I am so well prepared for interviews, and I didn't know what to expect for this one because I'm like, I haven't seen a single fucking interview where you've answered like straight.
I've seen all your other interviews, and everybody was totally boring. They're all talking about shit.
Let's go. Let's go. All right.
But
So,
they're all really a lot of really good musicians you've interviewed, and they're all just boring me to tears. They're all, let's talk about some fun shit. Let's talk about partying. Partying at the gym. Let's do that.
Let's do that. My favorite thing. All right. So let's talk about your playlist. What are the top 3 bands that you listen to like right now?
My top 3 bands?
Yeah.
God damn. You started like with a really tough question. That's really, really hard. Like, I mean, I'm old school. So, I mean, I think I would probably have to say, I've been listening to Judas Priest lately, and I've been listening to Queensryche. I like some old Queensryche. What else have been listening to? I don't know. I mean, I go down some rabbit holes, like like 60s and 70s stuff a lot, because the records just sounded really good back then. Like, it seems like over the last couple of decades, especially the last 2 decades, like almost everything, especially rock music, it's all like pinned into the red. Like, everything's compressed a lot, and there's not a whole lot of dynamics in the records. So because of that, a lot of people don't play with a lot of the dynamics too. But it's just all loud, like the signal's loud on the records, but I like. So if you listen to like an old, what record I got really into lately was the first Iron Maiden record, because Paul Di'Anno was. I just think he was such a great singer, and nobody talks about him because Bruce Dickinson is such a great singer, right? He's such a great singer, and he's been the guy in Maiden for so long. But when when I first got into Iron Maiden, it was probably right after they came out, and I didn't know much about them, and I just went out and bought the first Iron Maiden record and Killers, and I think I got Number of the Beast too, because it's probably right around. Well, maybe it might have been before. I don't know. All I know is that the first albums that I was exposed to were Paul Di'Anno records, and Paul Di'Anno is such a great singer. And when he passed away recently, it was I was so bummed out. I never got to meet Paul Di'Anno, but I went and listened to. I've been listening on repeat for the first Iron Maiden record with Prowler and Remember Tomorrow and all these awesome songs, and the tones are just very real, and Clive Burr was such a great drummer, and it's funny because those guys were some of the first guitar players that inspired me, Adrian Smith and Dave Murray, and I had a poster of Iron Maiden on my wall, and when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was grow up and be an Iron Maiden, and I never got to be an Iron Maiden. So, but most people don't, Yannick though, he's like, he did it. He got one of the guitar spots. I'm like, how does he? How lucky are you? But when I was a kid, I just wanted to be an Iron Maiden. So, and then I got more and more as the '80s progressed. Like, I know this is a really long answer to your question, but, but as things went on, Yngwie came out, and I was like, oh, Yngwie, and then all these really good guitar players that seemed to be like technically like at a different level, like above what Iron Maiden was doing. And then I got distracted, but then, it all comes back. And now I realize like the stuff that Iron Maiden was doing in 1980 was all really, really amazing stuff. Like the playing was great. It still holds up to this day. It's still great guitar playing. It's still like the songwriting was great. Steve Harris was amazing on bass and a great songwriter, and it was just all really organic and cool. It was awesome. Iron Maiden was a great band.
Yeah.
So that's my advertisement for Iron Maiden right now. I love those
No,
guys.
yeah, I can tell. So you're speaking of Ingwe, your Asian hooker is inspired by him, right? That solo,
Inspired by
Ingwe
who? Oh, yeah,
Malmsteen.
definitely. That was a nod to
Yeah.
Ingve for sure. I was a fan of Ingve since he came out. When he came out, he was probably well. I discovered him after he was um, out of Alcatraz, so he was already out for a little while, and because he was getting popular when he was a teenager. Um, but when I discovered him, he was probably 20, 21, something like that, and I I I do think I will say this there's a lot of great lead guitar players out there, but Ingve is definitely one of the greatest that has ever lived. And and I'm just talking about like lead guitar, like his lead guitar playing is incredibly expressive, and a lot of people like would bag on him for being fast and technically great, but you like he had the one of the he had combined technique with feel better than almost anybody that ever played lead guitar. He was able to uh, be melodic and fast at the same time, whereas a lot of fast players aren't really that melodic at all, and a lot of um, players that are melodic can't combine the two in the way that he did. It just felt very natural with what he did. So he was, not to say that he doesn't have his licks like everybody else, but it definitely flowed out of him very naturally. It never sounded stiff. And Ingve was definitely an inspiration to me, and of course Asian Hooker was a nod to Ingve in that
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's very unique. And yeah, that song is my favorite, by the way.
Well, and it's a universal subject. Who doesn't like Asian hookers? I think we all do.
I'm just really disappointed that you didn't mention India.
Disappointed that what?
Y'all didn't mention India in the song.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's only so many verses in any given song. So there's there's you know those were just the. I mean, I think when I was working on that song personally, I was those were the countries that seemed the most Asian to me.
Fair enough, fair enough.
I know it's kind of strange. People don't think of India as an Asian country, right? So
Okay, good to know. So let's get into the exercises then. What's your
sure.
favorite exercise and why?
What's my favorite exercise? Or you ask really hard questions. That's tough because I try to my biggest thing with exercising is I try to change it up because I don't want to get bored. And if I get bored, I'll stop exercising and I'll be 300 pounds. And it's not good because I love to eat food. And it, so I try to offset it with exercise, which is not a good idea because like one of the oldest things you always hear is like, you can't out train a bad diet.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna
So
say that. Yeah.
it's, and I have a tendency to love to eat all kinds of crappy food, but um, one of my favorite exercises is definitely pull-ups. I like doing pull-ups. Uh,
Mm.
um, but I being on the road, and learning how to like stay active on the road. We've been touring for a long time, and now you can go anywhere, and there's gyms like everywhere you go,
Yeah.
which is great. But there was a time years ago where it was like, oh, there's no gym, there's no gym close by, and I would just like find places to work out on my own. Like I bring a jump rope with me, like a weighted
Mm.
jump rope. So that's a good exercise, like a weighted jump rope. Like it only weighs like a pound, but or I have a 2 pound jump rope too. That's like, it's the whole rope itself is weighted. It's not just like the handles, it's the actual rope. And that is a great thing to do. And a 2 pound jump rope feels like you're swinging 30 pounds after like
Yeah.
5 minutes. It's crazy. But jump rope was really good. And that you can do anywhere. But push-ups are great. I've been trying to do like squats lately. Like, um, that's not fun because I don't like everybody. I don't like to do my legs as much
No.
as other things, but it's important. And
Yeah.
I do hanging leg lifts. That's not an easy one. That's a good one though for your. Uh, but I'm just I try to switch it up as much as I can because if you do anything too much, I think your body just gets used to it, and you end up not really feeling it as much. So I try to switch up my workouts a lot. That's the main thing.
How long have you been training?
How long have I've been
Like,
been
how long have you been like exercising
oh,
or
exercise? Well,
lifting or?
I've been exercising ever since I was a kid, and when I really started getting into guitar, I was pretty young. I was, well, not pretty young, but like a teenager, like 13, 14. But I got really, really into it. And I was, up until that point, when I started playing guitar, I was doing other things like normal kid stuff, like, wrestling and playing soccer and stuff like that. And then I started playing guitar and I was like, this is all I'm going to do. I'm just going to get
Mm.
really good at guitar. And I was playing guitar like 10 hours a day. And I realized that I was just doing nothing except sitting on my ass.
Mm.
And so I made it a part of my day. Like I would make sure I went and worked out. Even as a teenager, like 13, 14 years old, I was like, I got to do something besides practice guitar. Otherwise I'm just going to be, you know, a big fat pig. and so I
All the food.
so I started doing that early, but then as I got older, and once I got into my 20s, I realized that it was I had to really figure out how to push myself and work out harder, and and in order to like see the results. Like anybody, like a lot of people go to the gym. Like right now, especially like it's a new year, and like everybody gets a new membership, and they go to the gym, and they get on this stairmaster, and they
Yeah.
just and after a week they go, I look the same. This is horrible, and then they quit the gym, and they wait till next year, and they join the gym again. And so the biggest thing for most people is like seeing some sort of results. And I don't think you necessarily have to see it either. If you feel it, like for me, the thing that keeps me motivated and keeps me working out is feeling better now. Like I don't feel as good if I don't work out. So if I go a couple days without working out, I crave feeling better, and I want to be active, and I want to go to the gym. But I forgot your question because I'm super high right now.
Yeah, I forgot. What was it? It was favorite exercise.
What's that?
Your favorite exercise and why I just
Oh yeah,
went
my
off.
favorite exercise. I like sex. Sex is a great exercise. You can change that up and just keep on like switch to position, and you still
Right?
get an exercise. So it's good.
All right, then let's get into your least favorite exercise. I think you said something around legs, so squats.
What was it? What
Your
was it?
least favorite. What do you hate
My least
most
favorite. I don't
exercise?
like. I don't like doing leg exercises because they hurt.
Yeah.
Like it hurts. Like
That's the point.
they hurt. Like I mean, like a lot of dudes. I was more focused on my upper body for a long time, and now I'm like trying to catch up with my legs, but it's never going to happen because legs just hurt. And but it's interesting. We all have like genetic predispositions to look a certain way, like with our body type. So I think some people like, you know, I mean, there are bodybuilders that are phenomenal at getting their bodies to look a certain way, and some people are very gifted with genes. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm never going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, but I don't really care. Like we all have different goals, but it is for me personally. I mean, like my motivating factor here is like I'm getting older. I want to feel good. I don't want to feel like I'm getting old. Like, we're all going to get older, but like if you exercise and stay active, you can continue to feel young, even though you're, like me, I'm 88 years old. So it is, it just keeps the old man away, basically.
There you go. Strength training is literally like the fountain of youth.
Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly.
Satchel, look at Satchel, 88. Look at him.
That's my can you read that, or is that backwards? I don't
No, I
know.
think I'd agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's get into the big questions. So those are supposed to be like one-line answers, but yeah, let's get into the big
Oh,
ones.
sorry. Yeah, I tend to ramble.
All right. So when you're not on tour, what does your fitness routine look like?
What is my when I'm
What
not
is
on tour?
your regular fitness routine?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. That's the thing. When I'm not on tour, even when I'm on tour, I try to prioritize exercise. So the thing that I do after I wake up is I usually go to the gym. And I start my day that way, because if I don't start my day that way, I probably won't go later in the day. So, and I to me that's the most important thing is is exercising, and staying active. And when I'm at home, I'll go to the gym in the morning, or if I wake up at 3 in the afternoon, I'll go when I wake up at 3 in the afternoon. When I'm on the road, I like to I have to sleep, because when you're on a tour bus, it's not easy to sleep. So sometimes I'll sleep till noon, but I'll wake up and I'll go to the gym. And but at home, I'll always go to I'll go to the gym first thing, and try to get it out of the way. And but like I said, I try to switch up the routine all the time. So I don't always have something that I'm going to do when I get there. Sometimes I'll lift more, and sometimes I'll do more cardio. But I'm always like trying to keep it in focus with like my eating, because for me the biggest struggle is like not overeating, and eating stuff that's kind of healthy for me, because the older you get, the more you feel the bad things that you eat
Right?
too. So I try to stay focused on what am I eating, and not eating bad things. I mean, I'm probably not as good with nutrition as a lot of people, but I try to eat stuff that's not just full of preservatives and garbage, because like a lot of stuff you can buy anywhere is just garbage now. And I try to eat real food, and not and not have it not be fighting my diet. Because if you eat really bad, you're going to be fighting for energy, and you're also going to be fighting all these like useless calories that you take in, and
Right,
and
totally.
that's an impossible battle to win. So for me, like I try not to eat a lot, and like when I wake up, I try to postpone that, and like go work out, and I'll work out on an empty stomach. I don't mind. I
Mm.
don't mind, because I think
So,
once you get like to be in your 80s like me, it's like you just you don't need quite as much food. Like when you're younger, you're naturally like your metabolism is like really quick, and you're going to burn more calories naturally. But in your 80s, it's like whatever. I can live on a protein bar for a week.
all right. You look like someone who's extremely disciplined, like with your workouts, and that you follow like some kind of split or something. You're fucking jacked. Like you were seriously jacked.
No, it's I just throw up my breakfast, and you know no, I'm kidding. I mean, I think everybody, but see, that's the thing. Looks can be deceiving. Like it's some people look jacked and they're not, and I try my best to stay fit, for sure. I mean, for me, like for me personally, like everybody's got different standards of what they want, right? But for me, like really, it's like when I take my shirt off in front of a mirror, am I going to shame myself? Like, can I look at myself in the mirror and not feel ashamed? That's the whole thing. Like, if I
Mm.
if I take my shirt off and I don't like what I see, I'm like, it's going to motivate me. So I think everybody, like, when you're if you want to like motivate yourself, every time you eat a meal, take your shirt off and go eat the meal in front
I
in
love
front of a
that.
mirror, and you'll just be like, oh shit, I'm not going to eat this, you know?
Yeah,
So it's
let's
good.
make better choices.
But
Yeah.
anywhere you can get motivation is a good thing. So, and you know, as far as discipline goes, you know, it's not like I don't eat bad occasionally. I think everybody you need to have balance, right? So
Yeah.
right now I'm really trying to not eat sugar because sugar is really not good for you. And
Yeah.
so I'm trying to avoid it, but you know, I'll eat it occasionally. But I notice that when I don't eat sugar, I don't crave it. And when I do
Right.
eat it, I
Yeah.
want it all the time. So I'll just try to stay away from it. But you know, like it comes and goes. Like there's days where I'm like really bad, and then I'll try to get motivated again. But you know, for the average person out there who's like just trying to get in shape, you know, for the first time, because you know, some people are like 40 years old and they're like, I'm going to get in shape finally, and it's not easy to change your habits,
Yeah.
and it's really difficult when you're trying to change and then you fall back into the old habits.
Hmm.
And but you have to just remember, like it happens to everybody, and you can just get right back on the bike and start riding. Like, you know, if you have a bad day, then just wake up the next day and go, okay, I'm going to start over right now. Like, be in the moment. And don't feel bad about it.
Yeah, that is key actually, just building those habits because a lot of people will just jump into like fucking 5 days a week and 6 days a week, but they haven't built that structure like to get there, and that's why they keep failing. So yeah, that's key. I agree with you.
Yeah,
So
and you know, like for me and for probably a lot of people that you interview, like who are musicians, like this we're not normal people, right? So like a lot of people have normal jobs where they get up in the morning and they go to work and they're not done with work until like 5 in the afternoon or something, and then they have to find time to work out or do the other things. And for musicians, most, you know, especially if you're a working musician, it's the opposite. You have to fill up all this space before the gig at night, you know, and so that's a good thing, you know, for prioritizing working out. You can just go, oh, cool, I've got all this time, and I'm going to make that the priority. I'm going to go and exercise, and you know, you can stay at the gym for 2 hours if you want. I don't do
oh,
that because that's a lot of people can work out for 2 or 3 hours. I'm like, give me like an hour or an hour and a half, and that's enough. Like that's enough gym
mm,
for me.
yeah. So you lift like, do you lift very heavy or kind of higher reps? What do
Yeah,
you
I
do?
mean, I don't lift super heavy, but I mean, I do try to like try to push myself to, you know, if I'm only bench pressing 100 pounds, it's not going to feel like I got a workout. So, but I don't go over. Um, well, I guess you guys don't use pounds, do you?
No, but my clients are all American, so
All I know is I try to go to my limit where I'm like where I'm actually like the last few reps
yeah,
are hard to lift. So, and that's usually where you're getting all your, you know, you're getting your gains, right? You got to get to
right,
that point where you're going to the point of failure to some degree.
yeah,
But
yeah.
but you know, I also don't really work out with a workout partner a lot because I'm a loner. So I'll go to the gym and I don't want to get stuck under a bar like and have to get saved by a 12-year-old girl. So like I'll use like if I go really heavy, I'll try to use a machine that can't kill me if I'm gonna,
Yeah.
like a Smith machine or something like that. But it's it's cool. Where were we at? I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Me too. That's my struggle as well because I like training by myself, but then I kind of never get to this point, unfortunately. And sometimes, random guys will come up and kind of, I've not asked them, but they'll just come in there and come on, push last 2 reps. And I find
Yeah,
that I'm actually pushing more. So yeah,
yeah.
it's got pros and cons.
Do you have a problem with guys making passes at you at the gym
I get it all the time, but it's like I'm used to it.
all the
So
time? Me
whatever.
too. Girls are making passes at me constantly, asking me what kind of conditioner I use and shit. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
look at that. Freaking awesome. So then obviously like lifting hasn't really affected your playing or your practice in any way.
Wait, what? What hasn't?
Does like lifting, has it affected like your playing and your practice? Do you get like sore or your wrist sore or anything like that?
No, oh, no. Working out, like, you know, it's interesting you should say that because just recently I was, you know, this year we were on tour and I was, I noticed like that my hand like was hurting, and I thought, well, I wonder if it was the gym. Like, what did I do at the gym that made my hand sore? I can't remember which hand it was, but one of my hands was like just hurting, and I thought, and then it dawned on me. I was like, oh God, I'm just getting old. That's what it is. Like, it's just, I think it's like like I heard somewhere along, my many travels that like almost everybody gets arthritis at some point. Like, so, and I was like, that's probably what it is. I'm just getting arthritis. Like, this is terrible. I can't do anything about it. And, I noticed it wasn't from like lifting weights. It wasn't from anything in particular. It was just from, having hands basically. But the
And
good
being
thing is,
80.
like it didn't affect my guitar playing. I can still play guitar just as badly as I've ever played, and it was it didn't really affect that. But I mean, you can't really always choose how it does affect you. I mean, I'm sure there's some guitar players that are like, I can't do this anymore or whatever. And for me, I sort of got through. Like I haven't felt that pain in a few months, but you know, I think everybody has to deal with that kind of crap at some point. And hopefully I'll make it into my 90s and well into my 120s without having too much arthritis. But by then, there's going to be a robot takeover, and we're all going to be dead, so it won't matter.
Yeah. Or you can just like put prosthetics. I don't know, something that can mimic your
Yeah.
hand
Well,
movements. I don't know.
there's just going to be an AI Satchel and
Right?
an AI Steel Panther, and everybody's going to be AI by then, and they're going to wipe out the humans, and the robots are going to take over.
Okay then.
Yeah.
I think you kind of you'll probably be in a better place than most because you're strength training and you're lifting. So
Because
with the
what?
arthritis, because you're strength training and lifting, you're at less of a risk of getting all these arthritis and everything else. So
Yeah,
right.
maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure
Hmm.
about that.
Okay, so you spoke a little bit about staying in shape while you're touring, and you tour a lot, months on end. So you don't exactly have access to your food, and it's there's shitty sleep and all of that. So how do you actually look so good while you're touring?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you think I look good because I'm like everybody else. I'm just trying to my whole goal is just to not get fat. If I can just get not be fat, that's cool. Because we all do, you just want to look at yourself and go, okay, I'm not quite fat yet. I'm going to keep it at like at this level of but I'm trying to. It's tough because the older you get, the more of a battle it is. You don't know this yet because you're still in your 20s, right? So
What? No, I'm 43.
you're 43.
Yeah.
Wow, you well keep up the great work. You look awesome. You still look like you're 25, so that's good. It is not, and it's not an easy thing, but it's like you said, it's all about the habits, right? So, um, I think it's really really good to get into develop those habits so you just really don't have to think about it very much, and when I'm like you asked about being at home, like when I'm at home, I go to the market and I buy like the same types of foods that aren't bad for me, like that I know are more on the healthy end. So if I eat like something in the morning, or when I eat, the first thing I eat is usually something like like cottage cheese and like and a banana or something. It's something that's not. And I know it sounds really boring, but if you do the same thing and you know how many calories are in it and you know what's in it, like you can kind of have that be a baseline for what you're doing, and it's I probably don't eat as good as I should, but it's good to have that baseline, and you have a starting point and you can kind of keep track of it. I also do like actually count my calories a lot.
Mm.
Like I don't always finish strong during the day because but I know about kind of where I am. Like I know whether I'm like, because for me, I don't need, you know, more than like 2,500 calories or something. And so I try to like keep it around that. But if I'm eating like 3,500 calories, then I know I can feel it.
Mm.
especially if I eat like 5,000 calories in a day. I'm definitely
Yeah.
not doing it.
Yeah. Well,
But
I'm at 2,400 now.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
I think that's probably about normal, right? Like so, like that's actually probably pretty low for some people. I mean, there's dudes
2,400.
at 2,400, don't you think?
Well, for dudes, it's pretty low, I think. But I
For
mean, if you're
first,
not training,
but I'm like I'm not like 6'6". I'm like I'm like 5'9". So I'm not a big guy. So but the tall dudes, like if you're 6'4" or 6'5", you're just burning calories like standing
yeah,
up.
right? Yeah, yeah,
Like
totally.
those guys are just burning calories like being tall. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So how do you do this then when you're on tour? You can't really manage that, right?
Manage.
Your calories, counting calories and stuff.
Well, I'm sure other people have mentioned this. It sucks because being on tour, like, it's just a giant obstacle course of food, and everywhere you go has different food. Like every country has different, like, you know, food that's available. Of course, there's the same fast food almost everywhere, but nobody really wants. I don't want to eat fast food. And then, but for me, like, especially in Europe, like when we go to Europe, like there's catering everywhere, and it's all really good. And there's always a bunch of like really fattening stuff, and a lot of stuff with sugar in it. And there's always cookies everywhere, and there's candy bars everywhere. And I just have to like physically restrain myself from going near it, and
Yeah.
because I can see it, it's everywhere. It's on the bus, it's backstage, and they'll bring stuff like that and put it backstage right where you're going to put, your suitcase. And I'm like, oh god, there's like a big box of cookies. I don't want to. I don't want to look at that because I could seriously, if somebody opens a bag of cookies, I'll eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll just feel, and it'll start like this. I'll go, I'll just have one,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I'll have three, and then I'll have three will turn into five, and then five will be 15, and 15 will turn into the whole box.
So you're like a cookie monster.
Yeah, I mean, but I love cookies, and I also like ice cream a lot. So I can't like, if I look at any of this stuff, I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, it ruins me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I realize like I don't know if you've ever done this. Like, just you eat some cookies and you go, okay, I got to know how many calories were in that. And then you look and you go,
Shit.
oh Jesus Christ! I just ate 2,300
Yes.
calories of cookies in one sitting. It's crazy. So and that's how you really like tangibly know, oh, you
Mm,
really can't out train a bad diet. If you eat a box of cookies in like 10 minutes, then there's no way you can go on the Stairmaster for 4 hours and you barely put an dent in it. So it's
right.
really bad. So
Yeah, and this is where people make like a big mistake with their food. Like they think that, okay, I ate the donut, I'm gonna work out that much to burn it, but that's not really it, right? That's not like a sustainable thing, and that's not really gonna help you stay lean. So yeah,
yeah, especially with like stuff like a donut. A donut's got really basically no nutritional value at all. So you're just burning useless calories just to get back to that
yeah,
baseline, and you don't really have it's not sustainable, like you said. So
yeah. The other thing with counting like calories, you count your macros as well.
no, I don't. I should. I mean, I keep, I try to keep an eye on what, what I'm eating for like how much protein I eat in a day, and to some degree like carbs and proteins, but
Yeah,
I don't you know I don't really keep track of it as well as I
yeah.
should. But
So
again,
calories.
being on the road is like, that's where it gets complicated. It'd be easier to do if I was at home all the time, and I knew where I was getting my food and I was preparing it myself. But then you go on the road, and almost everything you eat is like prepared in a different place, and it's just, you got to just try to use good judgment and try to ballpark everything, like estimate
Yeah,
what's in it. But it's not easy to do. Being on the road is
yeah.
hard.
And I think that's where your counting calories, like your experience and all that comes in, because then when you're eyeballing, you kind of know portion sizes and you learn that, right?
Yeah, portion sizes are. I mean, I think that's a really big part of it, especially for like the average person. If you're getting into just you know figuring out like how how you can accidentally overeat, right? Like a lot of it is just portion size, right? So you can count calories and get an idea, but then you start to visualize like, oh, okay, this, what I've been eating, and like especially being American, because if you're in America and you go to like a TGI Fridays in America, it's like they give you enough food to feed a family of four for a week, and that's in one sitting. It's crazy. It's like give you like 5 or 6 thousand calories in one meal. It's like, what did I just do? And if you're used to that and you've never really been, taking care of your nutrition or your diet or watching it at all, that's why almost everybody in America is, as big as a house, because if I mean, they're not just putting on a couple pounds a year. You're putting on like 10 pounds a year. And that becomes, in 10 years, that's 100 pounds. Like, whoa, I'm 100 pounds overweight. How did that happen? Like, it was really easy. If you're eating like 6,000 calories every meal, it's going to happen. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's the diet is such a huge part of it, of staying fit, because, obviously, like you can't really be active if you're carrying a lot of extra weight, and that all starts with your diet. So that's where the main fight is for most people. But that because you're obviously eating very well. I saw one of your posts about your diet, and I was like, wow, you're like really hardcore. Like you measure
Oh
everything
yeah.
out, and that's cool. That's great though. I mean, I've done that a little bit with the measuring of things. I think it's
Yeah.
important too, because like, but even if you don't do it all the time, like every once in a while, just remind yourself, this is what a cup looks like,
Yeah.
or an ounce or whatever. So, because it's easy to keep adding to it, and you gets away from you. But
Yeah. Well, I actually signed up with a bodybuilding coach somewhere last summer because I was just like, I want to really get into the best shape of my life ever. But I do have my ice creams. Like I love ice cream and chocolate. Like those two, I cannot stay without. So I still throw those in here and there. It's just in the summer I get really really strict. So
yeah.
you know.
So when you started work, like you being a hot chick, do you have like people that just want to come give you unsolicited advice all the time about everything, like when you're at the gym, like, hey, let
So
me let me show you how to lift this thing, and because I mean, like, nobody bothers me at the gym, but I'm a guy. But when you're a girl, like I see girls at my gym, and they're always surrounded by dudes, like, and everybody's trying to like help them like do a curl on with a barbell or something. It's crazy. Is
yeah,
it
well, no, because look, I look friendly, but I don't look friendly at the gym.
right? You look mean.
I
Yeah,
have resting bitch face. Like,
yeah, yeah. That's good.
don't fucking talk to me like I've got my headphones on, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
stay
that's
away.
the
So yeah,
leave me
I look
alone
mean.
face. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. I mean, I kind of look mad all the time, but I am mad all the time. That's what
Honestly, if it
happens.
wasn't for the gym, I would just be freaking running my car over people.
Yeah, I'm just an angry old man. So like people, nobody wants to talk to me anyway. But it is. I mean, it can be a good thing if you're a girl, and you probably get. But the problem is when you get too much advice on things, you have to sort out what's good and what's bad. And there's always people that give you bad advice, unfortunately. So
Well, like
like
I'm
me, I'll give
open
you
to
bad
it.
advice.
Yep. Well, I have like a bodybuilding coach, and I am a fitness coach as well. So I don't need to listen to somebody else and their advice. I mean, if they're like in really good shape, I might listen. Like sometimes people are like,
Right.
oh, why don't you try
You so
this? And
you so you judge them on the way they look,
of
basically.
course I do.
Right, of course.
That's
Like, I'm not gonna
that's
take advice from you big fat
look at
pig.
you. Look at yourself. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's very true though. Like that's sort of what we all do, and it's we're not always spot on with it. Sometimes like people can be they can be in good shape, and they still don't look like they're in good shape.
But honestly, like if you walk into the room and if you have like this giant belly, like you're gonna get less respect. I guess like it's just the way things work. So if
Yeah,
someone walks in like all jacked and looking like they freaking know what they're talking about, of course I'm gonna listen to them. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear you. I mean, it's kind of it really is like, your body will follow your actions, I think, for the vast majority of time. So if you're really following the advice that you're giving, you're gonna look pretty good, I think. You know, most
There
people
you
will.
go.
You
Yeah,
know,
most
every once in
people.
a while, every
Like
once
I
in a while,
do
somebody
have,
who's not blessed, but
yeah, but like I do have trainers at the gym who are not in great shape, but they've got this wealth of knowledge. So
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I could see that happening. Like if a trainer's like, you know, just gotten to the point where they've been like, you know what, I'm married, I don't have to look good anymore. you know,
yeah.
and they've got all that knowledge, but they're like, I'll show you how to look good, but I'm not gonna do it myself.
There you go. What the fuck would I listen?
right.
So yeah,
It's
right?
like it's like being a high school gym coach or like a baseball coach. Like I'll show you how to throw the ball, but I can't do it myself anymore.
No, thank you.
Pretty funny.
Right. So how you prevent yourself from getting like sick or exhausted when you're touring?
Prevent myself from doing what?
Like getting sick or exhausted because there's different time zones and weather
Oh,
conditions.
right, from getting sick. Well, I mean, that's a good question, especially now since over the last 5 years of like World Health Organization lockdowns, right? Um, I don't worry about it, first of all, um, because I think that's I think that it's sometimes well, first of all, your body and your mind are totally linked together, right? So if you think that you're going to get sick, then you probably will. And if you walk around with a mask on all day long, worrying about the next pandemic, then you're probably going to get sick. I don't really worry about it too much. I try to. I mean, I feel like if you take care of yourself and you eat well, then you're going to and you exercise on a regular basis, then your body you've got an immune system, right? For a reason. So you'll be able to fight a lot of stuff off, and occasionally I'll come down with a cold or something like that. But I rest when that happens. I don't like to rest. I like a lot of people like I sometimes am the dumb guy who goes to the gym when he's got a cold anyway. But usually, if your body says you need to rest, it's a good idea to rest, and that's what I'll do. But I don't really get sick that often, and but I do take vitamin C and I take some supplemental vitamins as well. I didn't used to, but I do now, and like I'll take zinc and
Mm.
vitamin C and some other things, and mostly just trying to eat well, so I don't feel because when I eat like when bad things like preservatives and fast food and sugar and stuff like that, I at the end of the day I'm just like, oh god, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of it's just diet, but trying to eat right and stay active, but I feel like that helps me at that, and just having fun, like being in the moment, trying not to stress out about everything, because like it's very easy to you know it's hard to be a human being, right? And live life without worrying about shit all the time. And that's what I try to remind myself to do, is to not worry about the future and not worry about the past, because I can't change any of it. And just be in the moment and enjoy my day, and enjoy the people that I love, and enjoy being in the best band in the world, and enjoy looking at hot chicks like yourself, and have fun, because it's all going to end at some point. So I want to just have a good time, and be a positive person, and try to inspire the people that I know to be happy as well, because you only live once, apparently, or maybe you don't. I don't know, but while you're here, enjoy your time, right?
I love that. I really like that you spoke about stress and then you said that when you think about getting sick, you probably will get sick. So it's just attracting shit that you put out, right?
Yeah,
Makes sense to
I
me.
mean, I think we've all experienced that, like when somebody around you, when you find out one of your friends is sick and you were hanging out with them, and then you start feeling a tickle in your throat, and you're like, I'm gonna get it, and it's and you inevitably get it. But I think a lot of it is absolutely it's linked to our brains, and I don't know. I mean, I'm skeptical of everything at this point because you know so much of the world is like a gigantic psyop, and they're trying to scare us into being sick all the time and like feeling bad and being afraid to go outside. And you know, it's all the things that are good for you are the same things that have always been good for you, like going outside and exercising, fresh air, sunlight, and you know, and you know, like if fresh air is good for you, then don't put a mask on your face. You know what I mean? Like masks are
Yeah.
like we've had. I mean, I still walk around and I see people wearing a mask that have had a mask on for 5 years, and I get it. They're afraid of catching a disease, but like when all the oxygen that you're intaking into your body is being filtered through a mask, that's probably going to have an effect on you after a while. So maybe take the mask off and don't worry about it. Like just try not to be afraid of getting, you know, some new disease. We're all gonna those you know viruses have always been around, and all these things have always been around. So
Yeah.
you know, don't worry about that.
It's just living in fear as well. You're just constantly attracting negative shit then,
Yeah, it's
right?
it is your mind has so much to do with it. And you know, I mean, listen, you know, statistically, you know, I have a I think I have a way higher chance of being killed by a coconut falling from a tree
What?
than I do from catching COVID-19 and like dying of COVID, right? Well, depends.
Yeah.
If I go to the hospital, I'm pretty sure I'll die of COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
But I avoid hospitals just like I avoid coconuts. So there you
Yeah.
go.
I hate hospitals. Oh gosh, hate them. Do you have like a pre-show routine?
A pre-show routine? Not really. I mean, I like to get a guitar backstage and just play and noodle and warm up my right hand and I do stretch a little bit because you know I run around a lot on stage
Yeah.
and I think that's good to run around because I see a lot of bands and they just kind of stand there. Some you know some bands move around, but you know we run around and you know figure you know we can't afford like pyro, so I'm gonna run around. I'm gonna jump off the drum riser occasionally. I'm gonna do all that stuff, and it's if you don't if I don't warm up, it hurts to do that. So you know, and so I warm up a little bit. You know, sometimes I'll also sing. You know, because you know I sing as well,
Hmm.
and I think singing is one of the harder things to do as a musician. Like for me, it's easier to play guitar, and you know I've been doing that for a long time, and I can pick up a guitar and play it right now and play it pretty well. But singing, I have to like warm up like
Hmm.
for like 10 or 15 minutes before I feel comfortable. but but yeah, I just noodle on the guitar and sing a little bit and do some jumping jacks maybe. I mean, when you're on tour and it's cold and a lot of people don't know this, but like backstage areas at almost every venue, it doesn't matter if you're playing in an arena. Actually, if you're playing in an arena, it's even worse. Like the backstage areas are like caves with no heat, and it's like all made out of cement, and there's it's just like being in an ice box. So and you if you're touring in the winter in Europe, it's like everywhere you go is freezing cold, and the only time you experience during the day that's warm is when you go on stage and they turn the
Yeah.
lights on. So it's that's kind of it's you gotta prep yourself up to go on stage because you're in a freezer all day long. But
Yeah.
and sometimes though, like the summer is the exact opposite. So you're sitting around and you're hot all day because there's no air conditioning, and and then you go on stage and it's even hotter and it's wet and you're like sweating and you're like and then you I can't even play guitar because the guitar gets really like um if it's humid, it's like the
Yeah,
strings
misty,
stick to
right?
your fingers. It's just horrible.
Oh,
But that's those are some of the harder things about waiting around all day when you're a musician. But
yeah.
that's why I try to fill it up with workouts. You know, go work out stay active, you know.
Yeah. So do you smoke
Do I
or
smoke?
yeah?
No, I don't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes, and I don't smoke weed. Although I have tried weed in the past, but I don't um I don't react well with weed. Like weed makes me like super paranoid. I'm like, and I'm already paranoid enough. I think the government's trying to kill me at the moment. So I don't need any more paranoia. Like the FBI is already outside my house,
Who's that
guns
behind you?
drawn. What's that?
There's someone behind you.
Stop. They're they're listening to everything I say at all hours of the day, like they are everybody else. But I can't escape. There is no escape. We're living in a digital prison. But yeah, I don't smoke weed because if I was paranoid on marijuana, I would not survive long. I would have to I would be freaked out all day long.
Mm.
I mean, if there was a drug to make me less paranoid, I'd probably take it.
Okay.
But
What
yeah,
about
and I don't drink. Drinking has, I break out in handcuffs when I do that. So I just do like cocaine and heroin usually.
yeah? So is that, do you do like a loading phase, or you just take like 5 grams a day
Wait, do what?
of cocaine?
Oh, cocaine. No, I measure it like off of like strippers' breasts. I do like 3 or 4 lines off of strippers' breasts.
You're really good at portion sizes, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's I just stretch it from one nipple to the other.
Yes.
Works out just fine usually.
Yeah.
Depends on the size of the breast.
Okay then. So with alcohol, do you have any rules around drinking alcohol?
Um, I don't. Well, you know what? I don't really drink that much, but there is, there's people that I know that drink a lot more than me, and I don't have any. I don't really have any rules for myself because I don't drink very very often. But like rules when I'm around alcohol. Like for me, the only rule is if you're in my band and you want to get hammered on alcohol, it's got to wait till after the show because because it's really easy when you're drunk to hit bad notes. So like it's
Mm,
but the guys in my band, some of them party more than others, and as long as they can keep it in check, we're all good. So, but I don't like to tell anybody else what they can do with that stuff. But some people, but like clearly, like that's something that when you're in the music business, like people abuse drugs and alcohol all the time, right? So, but there's that other side of it, um, where most people don't want to say anything because when you say anything, you feel like you know, it's outside your area, right? Like you don't want to be a guy, you don't want to hassle somebody because they're drinking, and you want to give them the freedom to do that if they want to do it. But when you're in a band, you do sometimes have to draw the line and go, hey, guess what? You partied too much. you know, you missed the
yeah.
flight and now we can't tour. That there are bad things that happen with that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
um it's just like running a business. Like if you were working for Starbucks and you showed up 3 hours late, throwing up all over the floor, they'd be like, "Hey, Bob, come here, you're
Yeah,
fired."
Bob.
So it's the same thing with a band. Like every band has. A lot of people think that being in a band you can party all day, and some people do, and sometimes that ends really badly. Like we know some bands, and I'm not going to name any names, but some bands break up a lot, and then they get back together, and then they break up, and then they get back together, and sometimes they break up and they stay broken up for a long time, and they just stay broken up. Like Van Halen never really got back together; they just like got different guys, and then there was a feuding and all that. So um, I don't think that in general, though, um, drugs and alcohol uh, help. Like with keeping a band together. It's kind of like being like if you're gonna have a girlfriend, and if you're a normal person and you're just want to have a normal boyfriend girlfriend relationship, and you're like, cool, I'm going to do cocaine every day and drink. Um, you're probably going to have some problems with your relationship at
Yeah.
some point.
No
Like,
shit.
hey, sorry, I had sex with these three girls, but we're still good, right? Yeah, like it can create issues, but I think some people learn that the hard way, and some people don't. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah. Yeah. You've been around like the prime time of drugs and alcohol, and you've seen all of that. Has anything changed now? Has it shifted now?
Well, how is it? What?
Uh, Has anything shifted now? Like, are people more health conscious? Are musicians doing a little bit better than they did in the past
Oh, and wait, wait, one more
with
time.
health and fitness? So with like drugs and
Oh,
alcohol
in
and
general with people,
yeah,
you mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh well, I think people are more aware of staying fit and being healthy than ever. Like clearly, like there's a large portion of people out there that work out and take care of themselves, and they're very motivated, and it's awesome, and it's awesome. Drugs and alcohol have always been around, and there's always that out there as well. But it's like being it's like being in high school. You can either hang out with the jocks or you can hang out with the stoners, right? And
Yeah.
so you have to make it. I mean, usually you don't see the stoners going to the gym. So,
Yeah.
and that those are choices that everybody's got to make at some point. Like, am I going to hang out with this group or I'm going to hang out with that group? And for me, I would rather like I looked at it like this: like you're not going to be 20 years old your whole life, so you might look good being a stoner at 20, but if you're a stoner and you're 50 or 60, you're going to look like shit. and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and that's like really like that's a big motivation for me because I'm super vain. I'm like I don't want to look like an old fat stoner. I don't want to do that. So I would rather take care of myself and again, I eat all my meals naked in front of a mirror, and that keeps me
I
in
can't
check.
unsee that.
That's what everybody should do: eat naked in front of a mirror, guys, and you'll be fine.
All right. So, what's your go-to drink on stage?
What do I drink on stage?
Yeah.
I usually just drink water.
What?
Occasionally I'll have like a caffeinated drink, but even that stuff I'm trying to stay away from because the more I learn about all the garbage that they put in all this stuff, I'm like, I just can't do it anymore. And I've done it enough, but when you're younger, you just don't really think about anything. And then the older you get, the more you realize like, oh, like, this ingredient in soda is like going to give me dementia in like 10 years. like I'm gonna stop doing that. Like, but it's so easy to do it and just put it off and go, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. But then you get to a certain age where like your own relatives have dementia or things like that, and you go, okay, this is the effect of that kind of shit. Like when you eat bad food and you drink soda and stuff like that, like it's not just getting fat. It's like you're literally like drinking like formaldehyde and stuff like that, and and
Yeah.
and the cumulative effect of that over like
Yeah.
years gives you it can give you, and I'm not saying it's going to give everybody the same thing, but it can give you a lot of things like cancer and dementia is on the rise, guys. All that stuff is related to the food that you eat. So be
Yeah.
aware.
I agree. And I think that this shift as well towards, people getting healthier and stuff is just because now we've got all this information out there. Like you've got
Right.
the internet and influencers and everyone's just like showing us what's really in food and stuff. So yeah, that's helped a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, I mean, it's such a strange time to live because there's inspiration everywhere, and the internet is can be a great tool, but it can also be, there's also plenty of bad information, and there's plenty of bad purposeful information like misinformation, and a lot of times the people that give you the bad information look like they're giving you good information, and they're telling you that the other information is bad, but they know it's really good. And so
Yeah.
you have to be really like aware of, like I said, I'm paranoid enough, but living on planet Earth in the last 5 years, it's really easy to get paranoid about where you get information and where it's coming from. And but I think the important thing in the age that we live in is like learn how to trust your own judgment, right? Because a lot of people in the age that we live are like, I'm going to trust the authorities. But when you're trusting somebody who claims they are an authority, sometimes they are just there to guide you to uh, taking a drug made by a pharmaceutical company who are making
Yes.
billions of dollars, or
Yeah.
eating a food product that's made by a company that's owned. Oh, look at that,
What?
balloons.
What?
Um, or taking eating food that's owned by the same company that owns the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical company, and like it's all connected. So, um, you know, I think people need to learn to be more skeptical of all things. Like you really need to like just try to do as much research as you can, and don't be afraid to do your own research, and don't just take one source and be convinced that's the truth. Like corroborate it with other evidence and with other people, and and be. I think you have to be your own advocate for your own health.
Mm.
Like you just like nobody's going to be able to lift weights for you, and nobody's going to be able to double check your diet. Like you have to, like, that's why it's so easy to cheat on a diet. Like nobody's going to watch you eat that cookie. You have to look at the cookie and go, no, I'm not going to do this. And it's the same thing with everything else. Like you can't just go to your doctor and have your doctor go, take this medicine and go, okay, doc, he's got a degree. He's got a medical degree. Like unfortunately, doctors can be just as stupid as everybody
Yeah.
else.
No, I agree. I agree.
And so can everybody can be stupid because we're all human. We're all susceptible to uh, lots of stuff, misinformation and bribes and all kinds of shit. So you just gotta you gotta watch out for yourself. You gotta watch out for yourself, and some people will be able to uh, feel good eating some things. So like other people will have really bad reactions to like sugar, like
Mm.
visceral reactions to sugar, and other people can deal with it very very well. So everybody's got different levels of tolerance to that kind of stuff. So you do have to like um, use use your own judgment for the things that you eat, as well.
Yeah.
But
Listen to your
I think there
bodies.
are general guidelines like
Yeah.
eating bundt cake for breakfast every day is probably not a great idea.
You know what? Like, it's funny because like the supplement industry, billion-dollar industry, and then they're just making money off people. But if people just stuck to the basics, like, eat clean, go walk, get sun on your face, exercise, I think we'd have less health issues.
I agree. I agree 100%. And well, we're living. I think we're living during a time when well, people are by nature more sedentary than ever. They sit
Yeah.
around all day long, and they look at their phones all day long, and it's really really easy to not do anything if you don't motivate yourself. And because people are on their phones all day long, they're also way more subject to peer pressure that comes from all the social media that they're on. And when you see, a lot of people don't realize that like a lot of almost everything in social media is like propaganda. It's like aimed at
Yeah.
steering you to groupthink, and like you don't realize like that you're being propagandized all day long. And a lot of people are just like, well, this is the general consensus, so I'm going to agree with that because I don't want to be laughed at
Mm.
by my peers. And you find out later that it was just like, the
Yeah.
CIA like telling you how to think, like, well. So it's good to just break out from that and try to use your own common sense. And if they told everybody tomorrow that walking was bad for you and sunlight was bad for you, I guarantee you that there would be a good portion of society that would think that was real. And they would be like, I'm not going to go out in the sun anymore and I'm not going to walk anymore because I heard on the news that's really bad for you. And but
News.
but you know that's it goes against all common sense, right? So you just got to learn to be that person and be your own judge. Use your own brain.
Yeah, I agree.
Not easy.
Not easy. All right, so we've got last few questions, all right?
Sure.
Is there any sport that you've always wanted to try, but you've never been able to get good at or master?
A sport?
Yeah.
Oh God, golf.
Go.
Yeah, I play golf, and I've been playing it for a long time, and it's the hardest sport in the world. And anybody who disagrees with me on this is wrong. Like there's a lot of good golfers out there, and there's a lot of guys that can beat me, but they still suck at golf because everybody sucks at golf. Like even the best golfers in the world will admit it's the hardest golf. It's the hardest game. So
Tiger Woods.
yeah, Tiger Woods. Like look at Tiger now. He can't play either. I mean, he's everybody. Like you have flashes of brilliance as in golf, but you know it's a constant struggle. It's a great game though. It's a super fun, challenging game. Gosh, let me think. I mean, I never really wanted to. I mean, I'm a pretty good skier, but there's a lot of bones that can break when you're skiing. So I do that
Yeah.
once in a while. And I mean, I do. I mean, I've been my friends have been taking me rock climbing over the last year or so,
Mm.
and I've done like a multi-pitch, like up a cliff climb, which was like really crazy. And I'm like, we're up there in the middle of the climb, and these people were cruising by me with no ropes, like, and we're like 1,000 feet up this cliff, and these guys are just cruising by me with no ropes, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, you guys don't
Yeah.
have ropes, and they were like, yeah, no, and I'm like, you guys could die up here, and he was like, yeah, whatever, and it was amazing. Like, and I asked my friend because he's been climbing for a long time, and I said, hey Kevin, is that common? And he was like, no, that's not very common.
Okay then.
That's really rare, and so, but that's been a fun thing because like I don't know if you've ever climbed, rock climbing. It's
No.
it's not an easy thing to do, and I never thought I would do it, but my friends were like, they forced me to go, so I was like, okay, cool, I'll go.
So
And
you like pull-ups, right? Was that easy? Like, did you find it easy? I'm guessing it's a lot of upper body strength.
it's not easy. It's not easy. It was easier than I thought it was going to be at first because I'm strong enough to do it, but when you start getting into the more difficult stuff, it's not easy. And there's times when you're up there and you're like 500 feet above the ground and you're like, I can't reach that. And thankfully you've got a rope, so you're not going to die,
Yeah.
but it's
Just
still
swing
really
there.
scary because if you're going to fall and the rope's going to catch you, and there's times where you're just like, I don't know how I'm going to get up past this. It's really, really tough to do. And it's basically just being scared and torturing yourself, and the wind is blowing and it's cold and your fingers hurt, and it's a great way to
Perfect.
pass the time.
Love that. Love that. All right. I know you like to train by yourself, but if you could choose one person to train with, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
One person to do what? Train
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 with,
with?
yeah.
Oh gosh, who would it be? Glenn Danzig.
Okay.
I don't know
The
why I
guy.
said that. I think Glenn Danzig would probably hate me, but I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, actually, I don't know. I've never met Glenn Danzig. I do know his girlfriend though, and she's really nice. So Glenn might not hate me actually, but I don't know. Glenn is, seems like it's in good shape. So I mean, if I needed a spot, I think Glenn Danzig he'd be a good guy to have a spot. You just like pick the bar up.
Yeah. I'd
I
probably
don't know
do
if
it for you.
we probably wouldn't be able to talk about anything. I'd be
Yeah.
like, hey, Glenn, you like to party? He'd be like, shut up, dude. But yeah, Glenn's in good
Okay.
shape. How old is Glenn Danzig now? He's got to be 60
Like
something.
60 something. Yeah, because like, well, Doyle is around 60 something, is it? Yeah, I guess they're
Yeah,
around the
he's probably
same.
in his
Yeah.
60s, like mid 60s or something. That's cool.
Doyle is, oh Lord, that guy is just ripped. Like he doesn't look human.
Oh yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
guitar player.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's ripped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great, but he works out like 10 hours a day.
He's I think he started because I did like a video on him, like a biography, and I think he started bodybuilding or something when he was 10.
Yeah,
So
he's. I read an interview with him, and he was like, it sounded like he was complaining. It was like he was like, people don't get it, dude. I work out all fucking day long, and
every
I'm like,
day.
well, of course you do. You
Yeah.
gotta look good. But he's into it. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. He looks great.
Yeah, he does. All right, so we're done with the questions. Do you want to add anything health related?
No, I have nothing to add. I mean, I honestly like it's been great talking to you. You're in great shape yourself, so keep up the good work, and I hope I run into you very very soon, and we can talk more in person.
Yeah, that would be awesome.